How police say a group of people used posts on social media to rob unsuspecting victims in one central Kentucky county.
It's hard to see somebody that was good as John go.
Friends are remembering a Boyle County teenager police say died after being hit by a car at an intersection.
And a Lexington police lieutenant's good deed went viral through social media. What he did to help someone out.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good evening. We continue to track some breaking international news tonight. Turkey's military says it has fully seized control of that country in a coup.
The country's airports have shut down and military jets could be seen flying over Turkey's capital, Ankara. In a statement read on state television, Turkey's military says it has seized power, citing rising autocratic rule and increased terrorism. And a short time ago, a loud explosion was heard at a state-run television building. Turkey's president calls the actions by the military an attempt at an uprising by a minority within the armed forces. The CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley will have the very latest on this story coming up at 6:30. It seemed normal at first, a post on social media advertising something for sale, but police in Mount Sterling say 3 suspects used posts like that to rob people who responded.
Jonathan Garrett, Nathan Miller, and Amber Duncan now face robbery and kidnapping charges. And police say the suspects took extra steps to keep the victims from reporting the robberies. Victor Puente has our top story at 6.
Police say these 3 made contact with their victims through Craigslist and Facebook yard sale sites. They say they had their victims come to them and threaten them with violence if they called police. The investigation started after some of those victims called police despite that threat.
They did actually physically restrain using ropes to tie up some of their victims, and we now have a new victim that's come forward that says that they were physically assaulted as well.
They say in each of the cases the victims were robbed of their money and other possessions but were eventually released. They've charged Jonathan Garrett and Nathan Miller with 3 counts of first-degree robbery and 3 counts of kidnapping. Amber Duncan is facing 1 count of robbery and 1 count of kidnapping.
It had the potential for violence to occur. Anytime that you're using weapons, firearms to commit crimes, the potential is always there.
Chief Charles says they would have the victims come to a home on Nevada Avenue that belongs to one of their relatives. The robberies would take place while that relative was at work. He also said the 3 would take pictures of the victims' IDs. After the arrest, police searched the property and found 2 guns, one of them stolen. They say anyone selling or buying online should take precautions to stay safe.
Make sure that you meet in a well-lit public place and arrange for someone to know where you're at while you're doing this.
Chief Charles says the 6 victims they have so far are from outside of Montgomery County. He said he expects that number to grow as more people come forward. In Montgomery County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
And we learned this is not the first time Nathan Miller has been in the news. Back in October of 2014, he was charged with complicity to murder in Fayette County. Those charges were eventually dismissed when a grand jury chose not to indict him.
We've certainly had plenty of sunshine today, but tonight a line of storms is now moving across parts of Kentucky. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey shows us what he is tracking on the Defender Radar Network. How about it, Chris?
Yeah, a couple of strong storms out there right now getting into northern parts of the metro. Let's get into our Defender Radar Network and show you how it is a broken line of thunderstorms, but it is still impressive and individual hot spots, if you will, of lightning and maybe some high winds. And that's what we're tracking coming into northern parts of Scott County and into Harrison County. It won't take a whole lot to get in on some local wind damage from a quick pulse up of a severe thunderstorm like what is likely getting ready to take place here. Southern parts of Owen County into northern Franklin County, heading over towards Sadieville. Eventually, Barry and Cynthiana will get in on the act. We'll keep a close eye on that as it crosses over Interstate 75. Again, these storms sometimes can put down a quick burst of wind that can cause some local wind damage, and that's what we'll watch for with that storm as it makes its way into northern parts of Scott County. Additional thunderstorms here west of Newcastle, and some other storms are beginning to pop just to the north of the Bluegrass Parkway. We'll keep an eye on those for folks into Nelson County, Anderson County. Look what's back to our west. Thunderstorms out there. Notice this little band of green that is showing up north of Elizabethtown. That is where Defender is picking up on winds that are gusting up. So you're seeing the actual gust front that you will get that big burst of wind even before the thunderstorm line gets on into town. Put everything into motion. Again, the individual storms are racing off to the east and northeast. The whole line itself is dropping in from north to south. We'll come back and track those storms and the weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. Today, French investigators released more details about the investigation into a terror attack that killed 84 people. They say a French citizen born in Tunisia drove a truck through crowds of people in Nice during a Bastille Day celebration. Prosecutors say that man, who was later shot and killed by police, wasn't known to intelligence services and had a record of just petty crime. But the French prime minister called him a terrorist linked to radical Islam. Family members say Texas native Sean Copeland and his 11-year-old son were among those killed. And as Kristen Kennedy tells us, a Kentucky lawmaker says his parents were in Nice during last night's attack.
The number dead from Thursday night's attack in Nice, France, is now up to more than 80 people. They include a Texan who worked for Lexmark, Sean Copeland, and his 11-year-old son. Lexmark released a statement writing, "The company is saddened to learn that our employee and friend Sean Copeland and his son Brody were killed in the attack in Nice, France last night. Sean was not only a terrific leader in the company, but a phenomenal person who will be dearly missed. Our hearts go out to Sean and his family, and for everyone who is suffering in France and elsewhere from this senseless, violent act." Copeland was vacationing with his family at the time of the attack. Kentucky House Representative Jim Duplessis' parents were also vacationing in Nice.
Tomorrow's his 81st birthday, and this is probably not the way he expected to celebrate his birthday. And it's their 60-something wedding anniversary, so they're enjoying some traveling in France, and we got terrorists that are obviously trying to interrupt the world.
He had a difficult time reaching them after hearing about the attack.
I figured Mom and Dad, being 81 and 78 years old, they probably weren't out in the crowd, probably weren't gallivanting around. I'm guessing they're asleep. Turns out that is what it was. We got a text about 1 o'clock this morning saying, yeah, everything's okay.
Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Duplessis says he is not ready to discuss whether the attack should bring about any policy changes in the U.S. He is just glad, though, that his parents are okay.
Tonight, friends are remembering a teenager police say died after being hit by a car in Boyle County. Investigators say 19-year-old John Knight and 2 others were trying to cross the U.S. 127 in Junction City last night when a car hit Knight. He later died at a hospital. Hillary Thornton talked to some people who knew Knight.
It's just wild, talking to somebody who's here the day before and the next day they're gone.
Just hours before the deadly accident, 19-year-old John Knight was working here at Complete Fitness, actually covering a shift for Zane Gosser.
He came in here after working 12-hour shifts at the hospital. He came in and worked for me, so if that tells you how good of a guy he is.
Following what ended up being his last shift here, Knight had asked Gosser to hang out.
Just kind of makes you think what would have been different if we actually did go and hang out with him.
Investigators say Knight was crossing US 127 near Shelby Street with 2 other people when a vehicle headed southbound hit the Eastern Kentucky University student. Knight was taken to a hospital where he later died. The crash remains under investigation. Meanwhile, Knight's friends are remembering him for his kind heart and hard work.
Knight's friends say he loved his job here at Complete Fitness and was quick to become friends with anyone who walked through their door.
One of those friends made here in the gym, Jeremy Thompson, the two quickly connecting, noticing their similar tattoos.
Off of a Bible verse, Romans 1:16, about being unashamed of the gospel. We both understood that our faith was important.
A statement Thompson says Knight exemplified as a young man with big dreams for his future.
He just got through telling me recently that he wanted to pursue the medical field and go be a missionary and help people out.
A driven 19-year-old who they say lived every day with a smile and with purpose. In Boyle County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Now, at this point, no charges have been filed. Sheriff's deputies say they're still working to figure out who had the right of way after receiving some conflicting statements from witnesses.
We're learning more about the case against a Lexington man accused of threatening police departments in Michigan and Texas. When arrested, Lexington police say 30-year-old Raynell White told them he was angered by recent police shootings of African-American men. He's accused of threatening police agencies in Houston, San Antonio, and West Bloomfield, Michigan. Police say White called the Michigan agency 17 times, saying he was going to shoot police in the area when he got the chance.
We recognize that people have a right to free speech, and we encourage that. But when it crosses that line and they make specific threats against us or someone in the community or our facility here or another police facility, that we're going to investigate that. We're going to prosecute whenever possible.
White also called WKYT multiple times this week using an angry and threatening tone against us and police.
A picture showing a Lexington police lieutenant's good deed has gone viral on social media. This picture was posted on Facebook yesterday. It shows Lieutenant Joe Anderson having lunch with Henry Earl, a man Lexington police have arrested many times over the years. New at 6, Andrea Walker talks to the lieutenant and the woman who took that picture.
At a time when tensions between the public and police are high, it's important not to paint everyone with the same brush.
Police tell us the relationship here in Lexington between officers and the community is very strong, and that was made evidenced by a simple photo that got shared 1,000 times on Facebook here at Goodfellas Pizza.
It's a great shot, an officer and a civilian breaking bread. But what makes this picture really special is knowing who Lieutenant Joe Anderson was sitting with.
He's the most arrested man in the United States.
As you can imagine, local officers have gotten to know Henry Earl pretty well over the years.
We have had a relationship since I was a recruit officer.
So when Lieutenant Anderson saw him that day, he could tell Henry was a little off.
And I noticed he had the hospital ID bracelets on. Asked him how he was doing. He said okay. Asked him if he needed anything. Touched his stomach and he said food.
Without a moment's hesitation, Anderson took him to lunch. And while the gesture wasn't for show, Laura Hillenmeyer couldn't help but notice the unlikely pair.
What was cool about it is that he was engaging him in conversation, and he genuinely cared about what Henry had to say.
She snapped a photo, and soon thereafter, half of Lexington had seen it.
These are things that officers do every day. And some of the positives that comes out of tragedy, and this is it, the relationships that we have.
In Lexington, Andrea Walker, WKYT.
Now that's the way to connect. Lieutenant Anderson, who doesn't even have a Facebook account, says he was shocked when he found out that his act of kindness had gone viral. And while his fellow officers have had fun giving him a hard time about his newfound celebrity, he's taking it all in stride.
New law is now in effect in Kentucky that's designed to help thousands of nonviolent convicted felons. How it works next. A law now in effect today could help tens of thousands of felons in Kentucky get their convictions expunged.
The Administrative Office of the Courts, or AOC, says the law applies only to folks with certain Class D felonies. That includes things like drug possession and criminal mischief. The AOC says the process involves filing a court motion, but you can start by filling out some forms online.
We wanted to make it easy for the person to fill out on their own. Obviously, with any court process, we encourage people to hire an attorney if you can, but we wanted to make the whole process streamlined and pretty easy to understand.
The AOC says they expect the entire process to take about 6 months. We have a link to the forms on WKYT.com and the WKYT News app.
Are you planning to head out on this Friday night? How about some live music? Take a look. This is a live picture now from Lakeside Live at Lexington Green, which is just now getting underway. Live music continues until 6 tonight, and again from 6 until 6 starts again tomorrow night. Lakeside Live will be held every weekend until October 15th. A lot of folks enjoying.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Thunderstorms gearing up to our north and northwest, starting to see some of those, at least the tops of those thunderstorms showing up on our live sky cam as we have it trained toward the northwestern sky, and you can actually see that little thunderstorm that is ramping up a little bit northern Franklin County into parts of northern Scott County. 87 degrees right now, Lexington. Humidity's not bad. Winds are gusting up at around 10 miles an hour. It only feels like 89. We look at your Defender radar network, though. Healthy line of thunderstorms zipping its way on into central Kentucky. Folks from around the Peaks Mill area into Stamping Ground with a lot of thunder and lightning in Sadieville. Skies are barking to our north and northwest. Likewise here in Cynthiana and most of Harrison County. That may have a quick burst of wind that can maybe knock down a tree branch or two. We'll keep a close eye on that. A lot of times in a line of thunderstorms like this, you can get a storm to pulse up really quickly, produce some local severe weather, and then it dies out. And that's what we'll have to keep an eye on with that cell that is crossing into northern parts of Scott County. Additional thunderstorms are now blossoming here to the west of Lawrenceburg, northern parts of Nelson County, and that is developing right along this little boundary. See that little band of green? That's Defender picking up on winds. So we're getting a gust front out ahead of the showers and thunderstorms. So you're going to get that to roll through, and sometimes you can get additional thunderstorms to develop along that. That's what we're seeing right now to the north of Bloomfield there into Nelson County. Overall, that line is not a big-time severe weather maker, though. Local high winds a possibility, a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning, courtesy of a cold front that is on our doorstep. That front actually spells a little better news for rain chances into the weekend. Saturday, still some scattered stuff. Sunday, mainly dry. Most of Monday is dry until we get into the evening. Then the storm chances ramp back up Tuesday and Wednesday. Tomorrow's temperatures, low to mid-80s. Humidity levels come down. Southern Kentucky, still a shower or thunderstorm that will be noted. But overall, your Saturday forecast looks pretty nice into the afternoon and evening especially. Hour by hour, thunderstorm or two this evening, yada, yada, yada. I know, we've talked about that many times. End of the day tomorrow, notice how we have some clouds hanging tough into the area first part of the day. So if you wake up, it's kind of gloomy, dreary outside, just give it a little while by afternoon. Northwesterly winds for a time may try to dry the skies up. Southeastern Kentucky may have a harder go at it with some leftover showers and storms. Then let's get to Sunday, shall we? Temperatures low in mid-60s to start, mid to upper 80s by the afternoon. We got another cold front that will be on the move toward us by the time we get into the second half of Monday. And in a setup like this, out ahead of that, Monday afternoon, winds are going to crank up. We may have some gusts 20, 25 miles an hour and temperatures that can hit the low 90s. And typically, that can be a precursor to a line of thunderstorms dropping in from northwest to southeast. I think we'll have to keep an eye on that. Monday night into Tuesday and maybe part of Wednesday as well. What will happen once that front gets in here, it'll knock those temperatures back down just a little bit. But in the short term, it's all about that line of thunderstorms out there now, guys. We'll track them all evening for you.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
You bet.
Up next, a couple of local kids bring home gold medals.
Well, they went all the way to Australia to compete, and they did well. We'll meet them, and once again, we'll bring you SEC football this fall on WKYT. Gary Danielson will be back in the booth. We'll get his thoughts on the Cats next in sports. Coaches and players from every team in the SEC sitting down with media members this week who cover the conference, and one of the broadcasters in Birmingham, CBS analyst Gary Danielson. He talked with our Dick Gabriel.
Danielson had just begun to delve into his research on the Wildcats, but he's watched them develop through the years, trying to build a program in what most believe is the toughest conference in all of college football.
It's a tough job, you know. But it's not just a tough job for Kentucky. You know, look around this conference, there's, you know, maybe 10 or 12 tough jobs. You know, there's some icon football programs, and everybody rightly is measured against them.
It's impossible to build a program without a deep and talented roster. Danielson says he can see that element of UK football changing under Mark Stoops.
You know, everybody's patient. Everybody likes recruiting classes. You know, Mark's done a good job with that, and everybody likes potential and improvement, but ultimately they want to see the next step, and it's not an easy task.
Danielson said it is possible for the Wildcats to make a move in the SEC East once in a while, but it has to be a veteran team like the one he saw upset LSU.
When they have that classes that are 3, 4, 5th-year senior type players, you know, they did it once like that. They got to get young players, get them experience, and then win when they're ready. But then the dips can't be as bad. You win when you're ready, but then you don't want to sink to those 1 or 2 win seasons.
In Birmingham, Dick Gabriel, WKYT.
All right, Scalabiciere having another good game in the Summer League this afternoon for the Kings. Here he goes. Scal backing into the lane, throws in the hook. He had 17 at this point. Late in the game, Scal showing a lot of confidence. He turns baseline, hits again. He finished with 19 points, 5 boards. Spurs won in overtime, 90-86. The 2016 Down Under Sports Track and Field events were held on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. 2 high schoolers from Central Kentucky coming home with gold medals. Dwayne Depp of Woodford County High School and Oasia Taylor of Bryan Station won a combined 5 golds and a silver last week. For these 2 good friends, it is a thrill to represent the United States.
It felt really good because I ended up winning indoor state, cities and regions, and then I tore my hamstring, wasn't able to do my best at state, and I came out in PEDAR and won gold in high jump and did it again in the 4x1 and 4x4.
I placed second overall in the 200-meter dash. Our 4x1, we broke the meet record for the 16 to 17-year-olds that was set in 2003 by the Australian team. And then our 4x4 won a gold medal as well.